I'm fixing to dismantle climate change and the environment all in one video. Hey everybody, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So my name is Sam, and I'm gonna walk you through something that I think is almost as important as what's happening in the presidential race right now. So you're not gonna wanna turn this video off. Hello everybody, my name is Samantha. I am the owner and operator of a 2-acre farmstead located in Southeast Louisiana, guys. I'm all about regenerative, organic, sustainable farming. What I'm not about is the right of state or federal entities coming in and removing my property from me by stating eminent domain reasons. Now, I personally would love to see the Supreme Court weigh in on eminent domain, and is that even constitutional? Especially if you can tie the eminent domain into redevelopment, right? Blight situations, and I'm going to explain all this to you. Blighted property situations and or future development from corporations. So with me, when I think of eminent domain, are you wanting to take this property to build a school and it's the best property? I mean, I wouldn't be excited, but I could wrap my mind around it. If you wanted to take my property to reroute the water front of my property so that you could direct water usage to a corporation in lieu of the fact that they have still not built any facilities, just in the hopes that this data center would pop up on this property in 10 years' time, that I would have a problem with. One, there's no building there yet. There's no contract saying they're for sure going to come to your community bringing jobs, right? Because that's what they always do with eminent domain. What they say is, hey, we're going to take this property because we can generate more tax revenue. We can benefit the public. It's going to help other people more than what you're doing with the property. Sometimes that's true, folks. Sometimes it's fallow land that's not developed in any way, not being used for anything. Therefore, I could see where if it's going to, by taking that property, you could bring in tax revenue of, say, $200 million a year. I get that. But what if the land they want to remove, for the possibility in 10 years' time, there might be tax revenue, is land that is currently being farmed to produce food for people in that community? Makes you think, doesn't it? Watch this.
Here, loving going to work with Daddy. It's just, makes my heart so warm.
It's a pride in a job well done, a pride in raising a child to care about the environment, care about the land, and do a good job and pass it on to the next generation better than they found it.
Aiding that mission is a conservation easement previous landowners placed on the property to help preserve the rural and scenic viewshed and landscape from future development that could harm the area. But a government move may nix those protections, costing the Garretts the land they love. Their concerns stem from the county's plan to bring a more than $200 million water intake facility to address the county's limited groundwater supply. According to documents obtained by 8 News, the projected water demand for Caroline, King George, and Bowling Green will be 3.9 million gallons a day in 2025. By 2045, the county predicts that number will skyrocket to 10.4 million gallons a day due to population and business growth. The project will include a river intake station, raw water pipeline, and treatment plant, stretching from the Rappahannock River near Fort Walker to the Ruther Glen area off Route 1. It's where the project starts that impacts Corey the most.
Caroline County needs water.
While Corey admits there is a water supply issue in the county, he fears the project will negatively impact the environment, the rural community, and his farm.
This is just the first step in something that is going to totally change Caroline County completely.
The Garretts were offered $78,400 for a little over 11 acres of the land.
From my understanding, the county has been doing water samples along this river for the cleanest water to be used for their water facility. Okay, well, that's understandable, right? Why is it that the cleanest water happens to be backed up to a 100-acre farm? Generational farm, I might add. How is that fitting into the climate narrative that farms are toxic to the environment, folks? How does that make any sense? You've got miles and miles of river that you can test, and the cleanest water happens to back up to a farm. Okay, look, everybody, I just got notification that there's a certain VP that is hands off. YouTube is giving people strikes for even saying her name. So knowing that, seeing what's going on, if you'd like to get our newsletter so you can get the truth, we're asking $30 every 6 months, and that includes 12 issues. Now, if you do that now, that's going to benefit the fire victims in Lahaina, because that's where all that money is going, is that mission trip. So now's a great time to get tied into us through our newsletter that comes in your email. All right, so you can print it, you can read it just like a regular newspaper, or you can just read it online. It's going to be chock-a-block full of factual information, dealing with everything from spiritual battles to economic developments to World Economic Forum to politics to farming. Guys, you need this newsletter. The way you can get it's going to be pinned in comments at the top. Right here, right there. Comments, top one. Look, see it? That's how you pay for it. Now, something interesting is that there is an environmental conservation easement through the state of Virginia on the 11 acres that the county is asking for. So the 11 acres the county wants is where the land meets the river. That's in an easement. And in case you don't know what a conservation easement is, it is an agreement. It can be for 30 years, 50 years, or in perpetuity, which means literally as long as that land is there, it cannot be developed. Now, from my understanding, their conservation easement does not allow any development of the land. It has to keep it in its natural state, right? So these people were very smart. And this is where I want to encourage you. If you own land, more than a few acres, folks, and say you're farming on part of it, but there's, say, land that has a creek or a river area on it, and you have no plans of developing that area, you just want to be able to pass it down through the generations in your family for a swimming hole, water use, whatever, put it in a conservation easement. And let me tell you why. That is what is going to be able to stop the county, because now the county has to fight the state, and it eases the pressure off the property owner. Now, there are a lot of different types of easements. I'm going to really encourage you to do your own research. Be responsible for your own property. But I just told my husband this morning, Stephen, when we purchase a couple of 100 acres of land, I'm going to take the nearest land to whatever water sources are on the property, and I'm going to put it in a conservation easement. One, so my kids and grandkids can't sell it off for money. Two, it can never be developed. It's left natural where, nature and everything can just be the way it's supposed to be. That always benefits the rest of your property, folks. And three, so the stinking government can't come in and steal it from me. I'm not sure how anybody can say that a data center that is using 500 million gallons of water a day is sustainable or allowable. So my question always comes to this. Is there a water shortage in places like Arizona, California, Nevada? Or is there an overdevelopment and development in the wrong types of businesses? Because what you're seeing more and more is that water is being rerouted to cobalt mines, lithium mines, copper mines, data centers. It's being taken away from farmers. You see farmers under attack. You see people that grow food under attack. Folks, this is why I'm writing the book that I'm writing. And by the way, it's 90% finished. I'm writing that book because people don't realize that very soon across the globe, water is going to be the number one commodity. And we as a people have a right. We have a God-given right to grow our own food that can't be controlled by the government. And it should not be, but it is. So I'm writing a book to help you navigate that. I'm going to teach you how to grow food where you don't need their stinking water. You heard me right. You're going to go grow food with almost no water. And why is that, Sam? Because very soon you're not going to be able to afford or legally use the water that you have available to you because the data center needs 500 million gallons. The cobalt mine needs 1 million gallons an hour. That's what's coming through, folks. Global corporations are coming into America under the demise of American corporations, data centers, buying up rural land, convincing the zoning and the planning committees and the rural development committees to onboard them by coming in eminent domain, removing land that belongs to American citizens. Yeah, you heard me right. They're not removing it to make your life better. They're removing it to help out a global corporation. Recently, I was telling you guys, like land, our public lands, our watersheds, they're all going on the stock market. Watch this.
Which is, of course, interface with the global carbon market, but not necessarily. So, like, it doesn't have to be. But the push is obviously to create a bunch of new infrastructure all over the world. And BlackRock is positioning themselves to be one of the key players in that space. They acquired, I think they're called GIP, one of the biggest infrastructure developers in the world. And I think one of their top guys at Davos just a few months ago was talking about how they're betting really big on infrastructure going forward. And it's going to be one of the biggest investment opportunities of the next several decades, actually. So I think they're quite ambitious. And, if people aren't aware of this, I'm sure they'll get away with it, but we'll see. One of the things, too, about the natural asset thing, at least as far as the natural asset corporation model is concerned, is that you literally just go into a forest or you go to a river or lake and you identify the natural asset. And then at no cost to you, just after identifying it, you issue shares in the natural asset, a lake, a forest, whatever, and then you sell those shares to the sovereign wealth funds, asset managers, whatever, and then you have an IPO and generate all this money. I mean, it's literally just pointing out something outside and being like, this is mine, I'm going to fractionalize it and sell it to people, and you're producing money in out of thin air, essentially.
So take this gentle warning, folks. If you own land, they are coming for it. If you have water resources, they're going to regulate it. And if you're a farmer, they're going to try to stop you. Like, comment, and share. This is a very important topic. Americans, he who controls the food controls the people.